In this episode, we're going to remove and rebuild the clutch slave cylinder.
You're watching the
Kodokuna
Raida
YouTube channel.
Hey!
Well, hello. As you'll know, in the last video, we bled all the hydraulics on the bike, but the clutch slave cylinder was leaking under here. See that brake fluid? Okay, so first we've got to remove the two 12mm bolts underneath our footrest to pull that off. Now we've got a 10mm bolt here that holds that linkage for our gear change on. So just remove that 10mm bolt. Then that will allow this lever to drop down, which will enable us to get to this little hex bolt in here to undo, and then that'll come off. Now, if you're wondering what size that is, mine says here SCMV5. There we go. But that's the tricky bolt here, that hex bolt that goes in there, because the gear shift sits over it and you can't get to it properly. So remember, you've got to remove your linkage first. What's going to happen when I start removing these bolts, it'll actually allow oil will start leaking out here. So make sure you've got a container underneath to catch the oil. I don't know how much oil will come out, so I'm going to do a little test. Okay, so now that we've got the cover off, not so much oil came out. Look at that, only a little tiny bit. So you don't have to worry too much. Now that we've got that off, we can see this here is our slave cylinder. Here's our bleeding pipe we bled. So when I take this bolt out here, that's for our clutch fluid. So there's fluid leaking down, hydraulic fluid, but we can't help that. And don't worry, I'm not going to use that oil back in the engine, so you don't have to worry. Okay, so we've got, now there's a brass washer either side, so when you pull it out, make sure, there it is, see the brass washer there, and we've got that brass washer there as well, this side, there it is, two brass washers. Now remember, that fluid coming out there is brake fluid, so if it gets on your paint you can strip it off. So get it out okay, but make sure you clean up your frame and your paint, otherwise you can be losing some paint off your bike. Okay, we've got our clutch hydraulic pipe out the way. Now if you look inside here, there's our slave cylinder. We've got one hex bolt there, and we've got one hex bolt up the top there. See it? It'll focus, one up there. So the socket won't fit through there, so what you need is a long hex drive on a socket to go right in there and get that out, and that one down there. So here's my long hex drive, number 5, so we can get in there and undo those two. We got it out, and there we go. There's our slave cylinder, and look at it in there, look at that. That's why it's leaking. Can you see in there? Now we want to clean all this up and we'll pull it all apart. Okay, so I cleaned it all up, cleaned up really nice. I actually ran the wire wheel over it a little bit. So let's pull this apart together. Oh, look at it in there. Can you see the brown and dirt? Look at that. Oh my God. That rubber's had it. We'll just pull that off. So this is just sitting in here. There's no circlip or anything. So if you had a like air compressor, just stick your air compressor in here. Make sure you hold it like that. Boom. The valve will pop out. If you haven't, you can just get a screwdriver, put it through into that there. There we go. There's our spring. You can see in there it's a little bit pitted, so we'll clean that up with a bit of 1200 in a minute. And there's our piston. And there's our seal. Oh, that seal is hard. Oh, no wonder it's leaking. This seal is so hard. It's like a rock. Man. Here we go, and there's our piston. So now we've got to clean all these up, and we've got to clean in here with some 1200. Wet and dry will be okay, and we've got to clean all around here and get it beautiful and clean. Okay, you can see in there we got it nice and clean, which is great. And now we're ready to start putting it all back together. So here's our piston I've cleaned. This is our new spring. Goes over the back there. So here's our rubber. That's the one we pulled off. It's like that. I'm pushing that hard. This one, look. So it's very easy. The open end goes towards your spring, like that, when you slide it in. Okay, so you can use a bit of fluid if you want to slide these on. They're a little bit tough, but you'll get it on okay. There we go. See, the open end is pointing back towards the spring. And then our top rubber, where have I got it? Here it is. This is like a double seal. So it goes into that top part there. Like that. See there? And then when it slides over, that part goes over our rim here and seals up. Okay, so my brake fluid. Get our rubbers all nice and slippery. Put a bit in our cylinder. And it should just slide slide in nice and easy. There she goes, it's in. Slide our top seal over. And there you have it. All sliding beautiful. Now, when you slide it back in the bike, a pin from your clutch comes out here. I'll show you if I can. So in here, it's always best to put a little bit of grease so it doesn't bind up too much in here. So just put a little bit of grease in there that help that piston slip nice and easy. And if you want to know the kit number, it's a K&L. There we go, 320128. Now, if you can see, let me take you in there. You can see that pin coming out. That's what pushes on your clutch when our slave cylinder pushes out. Now, there is a little seal there. Sadly, my kit doesn't come with a new seal, but at least this one is not leaking, so I'm not going to play with it. If it's not leaking, don't touch it. So let's put it all back together. Have it all done, all cleaned up, no more leaking. It's great and didn't take too long. Oh, let's see if it'll fire up. I haven't fired it up in a long time. My fuel pump's up. Let's see. Oh, straight up. What a fantastic bike. That's great. Thanks a lot. Always remember, drive like you know each other. I'll see you on the next episode. Bye-bye. That's a great bike. Hit that like button and subscribe.
Thank you.